Welcome to Biz Wire. I'm Joseph Nordstrom in Beijing. Part of China's strategy in Africa is to invest in infrastructure projects on a grand scale that will help to not only deliver natural resources to port, but to develop a consumer market there for Chinese goods. Also, as the working age population falls by the millions each year and factory wages rise in excess of 15% in China, the country's manufacturers are becoming less competitive. So they're looking to African countries, which have young and expanding populations, just like China did when it took off economically over 3 decades ago. So when China looks at Africa's billion-plus people, they see tremendous potential for both a huge base of customers and as producers of Chinese brands. This dual act of maker and buyer of Chinese goods can be seen in the transportation sector. While it is still relatively small, Africa's automotive market is growing, supported by rising incomes, improving urban infrastructure, and the ability of Asian manufacturers, not just Chinese, to supply affordable vehicles. Although the majority of Africa's new vehicle imports still come from markets such as Germany, Japan, and the U.S., it is Chinese and Indian vehicle manufacturers that have made the biggest strides in recent years. Of exported vehicles, China has been especially successful in selling trucks and motorcycles in Africa. In 2012, China exported $1.4 billion worth of trucks and another $1.4 billion of motorcycles to Africa. A report from Standard Bank says typical African markets demand durable, cost-effective transport solutions, and brands from other emerging countries who understand what people want and can afford are likely to do well. Part of the growing focus on Africa for Chinese vehicle manufacturers is partly to offset lower demand in its domestic market, where customers often prefer foreign brands when they can afford them. As foreign automakers like GM and Volkswagen are planning to make further inroads into China, their Chinese counterparts are looking to boost exports to newer destinations such as Africa this year. Chinese auto exports were hurt last year as the Chinese yuan, or RMB, strengthened and the Japanese yen and a host of other currencies were in free fall. The RMB is likely to continue its slow but sure upward appreciation, pushing exporters to export production. Many Chinese automakers are in the process of building factories in Africa so that they can reach out to more local customers. One of the first Chinese automakers to operate in overseas markets, Lifan, has been one of the early movers in Africa. The company entered the African market in 2007 and has made Ethiopia its main base on the continent. With over 90 million people, Ethiopia is Africa's second largest country by population, is politically stable, and whose government has a good relationship with Beijing. Its economy has been described as a mixed market where the state dominates key sectors like telecom, banking, and energy, but encourages private investment in manufacturing and agriculture. Most of Lifan's vehicle exports to Africa are currently in the form of semi-knockdown kits that are later assembled locally. In this process, the company exports major parts of the car, such as the engine, chassis, gearbox, and body separately, and then assembles them. The company plans to move to a knockdown model of manufacture later so that they can ship all parts for local assembly plants. Company officials say that this process helps reduce the final costs in Africa because of the lower customs duties. By the end of last year, Lifan had moved its assembly lines in Ethiopia to a new location in the China Eastern Park, an industrial park developed by a Chinese private company. The shift helped Lifan raise its vehicle production capacity in Africa to 5,000 vehicles a year from 1,000 previously. While this is still relatively small-scale production at this point, look for more Chinese auto companies to set up shop in a much bigger way to take advantage of Ethiopia's and other African countries' dynamic economies and growing consumer power. You're watching Biz Wire on the Blue Ocean Network, China's first and only privately owned English-language broadcast media. Our full episode can be seen on our website, BONTV/Biz-Wire. In just a moment, we'll continue with more insight into the big picture of China's economy.